Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Just doing a reminder the shampoo will be going on sale starting tomorrow, March 6th through the 10th on Etsy, Shopify, TikTok Shop. So make sure you use the promo code if you are on Etsy is shampoo25. If you are on Shopify is shampoo sale 25 and you get it deducted off automatically in TikTok Shop. So grab up that shampoo while you can. Okay, so we're going to talk about a big blunder that America made. Ladies and gentlemen, you know who made this blunder? Pete Hegseth. You ain't going to believe this. First of all, one thing I do want to touch on before I even get to that. America is calling for its citizens to get out of the Middle East. This is so dumb. Y'all are so stupid. I don't want to hear nothing else about no damn high IQ and all them damn lies you be telling. First of all, you're supposed to evacuate your people before the first bomb is dropped. So you give people ample time to get out of the Middle East. You're telling them to get out while the governments over there are telling them it's too dangerous to be out and about and to stay put. Now, the US, it just goes to show you, you got a bunch of idiots in charge. You going to tell people to evacuate? Do you know yesterday alone, Iran dropped 500 bombs on Israel? And you're telling people to evacuate? Bombs are flying all over the Middle East because, number one, Iran is striking out at U.S. locations, military bases, and any location that's owned by the U.S. They're striking. So it's going in Kuwait, Dubai. It is just going everywhere. Saudi Arabia got hit. These people can't do a damn thing right. And they're always in your face telling everybody how smart they are. No, you're not smart. You're an idiot. So, Pete Hegseth, before the bombing began, told the Trump administration that the U.S. had enough ammunition. After the bombing took place, he realized they only had 8 days of ammunition. But by the time he realized it, because he's slow and stupid, the bombing had already began. How do you back out now? That's why Donald Trump jumped up all quick and fast after finding out the Ayatollah was taken out. He was trying to scream for a ceasefire. Okay, first of all, that is so unrealistic. You're going to take out their leader, and then as soon as the second it's done, ceasefire, ceasefire. Yeah, I don't blame them for not listening to you. And see, like I told y'all before, another reason why they won't listen to Donald Trump is because last year in 2025, when Israel and Iran were going back and forth for 12 straight days, Donald Trump jumped in there and pretty much saved Israel because they were getting their asses handed to them and screamed for a ceasefire. So, but Iran cooperated and they stopped. This time around, now that they know they got the upper hand because the US and Iran and Israel, the US and Israel are getting their asses handed to them, y'all. They're getting their asses handed to them. I've been watching it on live stream here and there. I can't watch it for hours. That's impossible, but I will go in there just to see what's going on. Israel can't even knock all the bombs out of the sky, y'all. Many of them are hitting the ground and hitting buildings and all kinds homes, apartments. I mean, yesterday, the missiles were going more inland. They were going more in the center of Israel. So it is a mess. And if Israel and the US are running out, they are not going to defeat Iran. They're two countries and they're going to go down together. There is no way. When I watched the barrage of rockets coming in, yeah, Israel would hit some of them, but many of them made it down to the ground and exploded. It is impossible when they are sending barrages like that. And see, Iran hide all of their drones and missiles and all their artillery underground. They don't have it above ground to be easily taken out by Israel and the US. So they don't know where it is underground. But I got a glimpse of their arsenal underground. There is no way. They've been stockpiling, y'all, for over 20 years. And when I say this underground tunnel probably goes a good 100 miles, and on both sides of the tunnel, you see nothing but ammo, vehicles, drones, missiles, artillery, everything, rocket launchers, everything. When I say everything, I mean it. The tunnel is practically 100 miles. And when they take you down the tunnel, you don't see nothing but all kinds of weapons and missiles and everything. And the US gave all their shit to Ukraine. That's why they don't have nothing. They gave every damn thing to Ukraine. Do you know Donald Trump is gone to Ukraine to beg for some of the stuff back? Ukraine ain't giving that shit back. They're fighting Russia. They would look stupid giving something back when their lives are at risk. The time of the Gentile need to be over, y'all. These mofos are dumb. They're dumb. He is going around to allies trying to get weapons and help from the people he came in office giving the finger and acting like he didn't need none of these allies. And the biggest one was Canada. Canada's always been a close ally to the US because the two countries are connected. And he pretty much pissed them folks off so bad they won't even buy US goods anymore. And you can forget about Greenland. Greenland is too done with the US. Mexico, he messed up the relationship with them. None of Europe is with them. Just Israel is damn near the only country that will halfway speak to America. All of the rest of these nations, they have walked away. I was listening to the UK. The UK don't want to help. Norway said they can't use their bases. Trump can't use their bases. Spain said, hell no, you ain't using our bases. He done messed up with everybody. And many of these nations are angry over those tariffs. Donald Trump put all these tariffs out there for what? For what? Every country he gave tariffs to were never a threat to us and did not deserve those tariffs. And the tariffs have pretty much backfired. Why do you think he's grabbing up Venezuela and Cuba and all these countries? He's grabbing it up because he effed up the deals and nobody is touching US goods now. So he's looking for other countries to grab on to try to generate money for the US because he messed up everything. Nobody's gonna help the US, y'all. Nobody's gonna help. There and even if these other nations said they'll help, they ain't bending over backwards for America. And you gonna need more than just one nation to help America. Israel ain't gonna be enough. You can't you're not gonna make it with just a handful of nations. It's not gonna work. You know, even if let's say he gets maybe France, UK, and even Germany. That still ain't enough. That still ain't enough. Do you know all of those nations also gave their weaponry to Ukraine? Go and look. France gave them weapons, Germany gave them weapons, UK gave them weapons. What's the other one? The red zone one. The Netherlands, all of those nations gave Ukraine weapon. I believe Italy even gave Ukraine weapons. So nobody got the stockpile they used to have, including America. Nobody got the stockpile that they used to have. Nobody's going to help the US. Donald Trump done gave the middle finger to everybody. And then on top of that, he's been sending over JD Vance, and they can't stand JD Vance. They said JD Vance, when other countries got to deal with him, he's nasty, he's rude, he's arrogant, and he doesn't know how to talk to people. So that has sending JD Vance has been zero help. Zero help. So I don't know what the US is going to do. But right now, a lot of people are already saying this is going to be a major loss for Israel and the US. This is going to be a major loss. And there are many people that I'm seeing online that are saying they believe the US is lying about the number of casualties. They're trying to say all six are white, by the way. All 6 soldiers that were killed are all white. I saw the other 2 just this morning. They're all white soldiers. And don't Pete Hegseth want an all-white army? So, anyway, y'all, this is not good. This is not good, and we also can't rule out the fact that there's gonna be attacks on US soil. Donald Trump and his buddies can go down in bunkers. See, they're gonna leave us out here to fend for ourselves while they run like a bunch of bitches into bunkers. Mm, mm, mm. And everybody is saying the US had no business getting involved in this. Okay, Israel had its beef with Iran for years, for decades now. The US, there was nothing Iran was doing to the US. It was no reason for the US to do anything to Iran. It's a war that was completely unnecessary. It was never necessary. Yeah, we know, we know. Like everybody is saying that this is Netanyahu's war. Yes, I have seen that too. So y'all, we're gonna listen to some videos and wow. If you think it could not have gotten this bad, You better think again because it is bad. It is bad. Wow. Okay. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Y'all know field beasts can't run anything. Isn't that what the Most High referred to these Gentiles as, field beasts? Well, I guess we can't expect better from a field beast, right? Mm. Yeah, I guess in the next week or so, we'll hear Baron can't go because he got bone spurs. Oh, man. Thank you, y'all, for the ones.
Major breaking news right now. Axios is reporting that for the first time since October 7th, the United States put on hold a weapons shipment to Israel. According to Israeli officials, the weapons shipment was a shipment of ammunition that was supposed to be sent to Israel last week, but the Biden administration put it on hold. The reason, however, is unknown right now. Now, according to this report, once Israeli officials were notified of the possible hold, they began scrambling to figure out why they were put on hold. At a major point for US Israeli relations right now, because for a long time, the Biden administration has essentially said that going into Rafah is akin to a red line for them, while Prime Minister Netanyahu in recent weeks has said that no matter what, whether there is a ceasefire deal or not, Israel intends on going into Rafah. Rafah is home to over 1 million Palestinian civilians right now, and it is considered a Hamas stronghold as well. But the United States has said that it will not support any Rafah operation if Israel does not have a plan to keep civilians safe. As soon as we have more information about this weapons shipment and more, I will provide it to you, so be sure to stay tuned for all the news you need to know about.
So, y'all, I just found out, from this report and others that I saw this morning, the US have not been sending as much weaponry to Israel. And I think, when Biden was in, they just didn't have it because they were supporting Ukraine in such a big way. Because remember, we gave billions of dollars and all kinds of weapons and helicopters and everything to Ukraine. So they simply didn't have it and they had to halt it. And that's not the first time that happened. So let's go on.
At this point, I'm sure everyone is aware that for no apparent reason, we are now at war with Iran. And you may not be aware that we have essentially run out of interceptor missiles. Iran specializes at building these very cheap missiles that they can send at targets. And the US specializes in building enormously expensive interceptor missiles that can try and generally fail to intercept those cheap missiles that are coming in. So you send a $2,000 missile over at us, and we spend $15 million on a 50-50 chance of taking it out. So every time that happens, we lose, right? But they can't even make these fast enough to keep up with how fast we are using them, and so we are running out. Trump says, get used to it. Americans are going to die for this. There will likely be more. Yes, of course, we did not bring enough bullets to actually do whatever it is we're trying to do. US is now racing to accomplish mission before they run out of bullets. What is the mission? There is no plan. There is no reason for any of this to be happening. And this moron is really trying to win the crown from Bush for worst foreign policy decision in history. They are so profoundly stupid. Everyone in this administration, everyone who likes this administration, everyone who's even a little bit on board with this administration and its agenda is so profoundly stupid. These are just the most manifestly unintelligent people.
This war, I think, is not going to end well for the United States. The Pentagon assessed that we had roughly 8 days of armaments for in the CENTCOM area of responsibility (AOR). We have gone through now, as you note, 3 days of those 8 days worth. Which means next week, next Sunday or Monday, if this tempo continues, the CENTCOM AOR's stockpiles will be depleted of critical interceptors and land attack missiles, the Tomahawks, which means if we want to continue the war, if the Iranians don't surrender, and I don't think they're going to, then we're going to have to pull critical stockpiles out of the Indo-PACOM area of responsibility, leaving our troops and our allies in Asia completely vulnerable to any kind of Chinese intervention. Therefore, this war, I think, is not going to end well for the United States if we don't get a conclusion within the week to the conflict. And I don't see any conclusion on the horizon.
It's interesting when we all got the notifications on Saturday morning early that U.S. forces had struck Iran and we were engaging in this battle along with Israel. I had to go back and think about, well, what was said in the State of the Union? What has been the messaging from this administration prior to that point? And we were all under the assumption that we were still negotiating.
Queen Mommy, I saw what you wrote. You said 3 copper color died first. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. The ones that died first were white. The 3 that you saw, that was from 2024. Go back and look. The 3 melanated people that they showed, they died in 2024. I thought the same thing too. All of the people that have died from Sunday all the way up until now are all white. That picture that you see of the melanated, go back and look. I'm serious. That picture is from 2024. It is confusing. Okay. But some of y'all might even remember back in 2024 seeing that picture. But that's not a recent picture, by the way. I just wanted to let you know. All right, let's go on.
And that there was still an option, but now we find out that this had been planned for months that they were going to do that. I don't think they ever had plans to finalize their negotiations. I thought they knew from day one they were going to make a strike on Iran.
And this is what I've been saying every time I'm on your show. When the issue of negotiations came up, I said it was a ruse. This is exactly what the Trump administration did last year in the run-up to the 12-day war, is they promised that, hey, we're going to go and get negotiations. And then at the last minute, the Israelis and the United States then went on the offensive. I think it's important to understand how we got Ayatollah Khamenei. How we got here was we told Khamenei right before we clipped him that we're going to sign a temporary ceasefire and continue negotiations on March 1st. And then the Ayatollah who said, okay, fine, we're going to do that. And then we knew he was there and we were able to kill him that way. So we've been using diplomacy as a canard to allow for us to target the regime's key leadership. But that's going to have very deep impacts, Brian, on our diplomacy and the rest of the world. Who could possibly trust the United States, or at least the Trump administration, when they say, hey, we want to go make a deal, Mr. Kim Jong-un or Mr. Putin or Mr. Xi? And then suddenly, looking back at the recent history, these leaders realize, wait, if we go make a deal with these guys, they might try to blow us up. This is not good for American honor or for America's diplomatic strategy globally.
Hey y'all. So, with this war in Iran, I have been like watching everything overseas from France, from the UK, from Al Jazeera English. I follow them because I feel like they're telling the truth. And something that kept popping up was that the United States is low on munitions. And I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. You've got to be fucking kidding me. You've started this war with Iran, okay, with Israel, and we're low on munitions. Like, I think he would have been told that. It's been confirmed that he was told that. But he was thinking that this war with Iran, they'd go in there and they'd bomb, 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 bomb. And Iran would just go, okay, all right, who do you guys want here to be in charge in Iran? That's not going to happen. You see that Iran's like, fuck that shit. They are just bombing fucking everywhere. And the only reason that the UK is now allowing the United States forces to uh, be on their Royal Air Force or Royal Military bases is because Iran bombed Cyprus, bombed a UK military base in Cyprus. And my understanding is that France is now entering into the fray. So I have someone that is a retired lieutenant colonel that still has security clearance. And I was like, hey, is this true? They also happen to be super MAGA, whatever. And it is true. And then he blamed it on the last administration for giving munitions to Ukraine. So that's why we're low on munitions. So at some point, other NATO countries are going to say, hey, they're protecting our interests and they've got bases all over the world. We're going to give them munitions. But at the same time, he just took $10 billion, Trump, of our money to head up the board of peace that's made up of these other countries. Are they going to give us munitions, or like what the fuck? Like, literally, if this war drags on for like months, we're in deep shit. So yeah, thank you, Trump.
Trump went on Truth Social to address the munitions shortage that we have, and you may be shocked to hear this, but it's actually Joe Biden's fault. He said the U.S. munitions stockpiles have, at the medium and upper medium grade, never been higher or better. As was stated to me today, we have a virtually unlimited supply of these weapons. Wars can be fought forever and very successfully using just these supplies, which are better than all the other countries' finest arms. The highest end, we have a good supply, but we are not where we want to be. Much additional high-grade weaponry is stored for us in outlying countries. Sleepy Joe Biden spent all of his time and our country's money giving everything to P.T. Barnum, President Zelensky of Ukraine, hundreds of billions of dollars worth. And while he gave so much of the super high-end away free, he didn't bother to replace it. Fortunately, I rebuilt the military in my first term and continue to do so. The U.S. is stocked and ready to win big. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
But current estimates suggest that the United States is so low on some munitions, partly because we've used them in the defense of Israel already in the last 12 months. But whatever the cause, the United States is so low on certain kinds of munitions that were we to have even a brief but intense engagement with Iran, our military would not be ready for like 10 years to fight a real war against, a peer or near peer adversary. So out the window would go any hope of defending Taiwan. Whether or not it's a good idea is kind of, up to you to decide. But that would not even be on the table because we wouldn't be able to. We would be much weakened by this because we don't have the stockpiles and we don't have the necessary industrial capacity to replace them quickly.
So we now have reports that U.S. and Israel are running out of ammunition. Yes, Iran's play to shoot all their old missiles over at Israel and everywhere else first is taking out all the anti-missile warheads that they have for their Iron Dome and all other defense on military bases. They've started to run out of ammunition as threats from Iran to start sending their new, even scarier missiles into Israel and everywhere else is looming. So they literally don't even have enough missiles to shoot down all the missiles that Iran is shooting over. In other news, one of the heads of Hezbollah has been assassinated. Yes, Israel has sent somebody over and took him out. So just letting you know that on a back note. They've been trying to do that for a while, though. So
the Wall Street Journal reported today the U.S. might actually run out of ammunition, that they're in a mad rush to wrap up this fucking stupid war with Iran as quickly as possible because they might actually run out of interceptors, things that they use to intercept Iranian retaliatory strikes. You'd think these guys would have thought about that before doing this, but of course it's very likely that the village idiot Donald Trump just assumed and figured, this was going to be like Venezuela, that we would go in. It would be the greatest military thinking thing that I ever thought of ever in my life, ever in the history of the world, the greatest military, and I did it. And it would be over in 2 days. And it's not. And now we might run out of ammunition. Great.
So I saw this story a couple of days ago, but I kind of brushed it off because I thought, no, that can't be true. But then today, a major New York publication picked this up, and I thought, well, maybe I should run this anyway. So there may be a problem with the U.S. attack on Iran, one which maybe other people hadn't thought about. It might actually be true that the U.S. Army and Navy are currently running out of ammunition. Specifically interceptor munitions, those missiles that intercept the missiles coming from Iran. This has been mentioned a few times now, and one of the big media giants in New York picked it up today as well. So basically, the U.S. Army and armed services have been largely successful in intercepting Iranian missiles for the most part, even though we've seen a lot of damage on the ground. But there's only a finite amount of missiles or interceptors that they have to do the job. It's been raised again that they, in fact, might be running out of missiles to do this. Also, they may be running out of sea-based Tomahawk missiles. The reason for this is because obviously there's been a lot of Iranian missiles over the last couple of days. But also you must remember that previously Donald Trump has attacked Venezuela. That's led to a reduction in missiles available. He's also, as you remember, he's attacked Nigeria as well. And that's led to, again, a diminished number of Tomahawk missiles there as well. So how long can Trump sustain this action? This whole thing from start to finish so far has been a complete clusterfuck. It's been really poorly organized. It's been there doesn't seem to be any end game, even though several members of the regime in Iran have been taken out. A new regime of leaders has stepped forward, and Iran continues to fire weapons and munitions at the United States and also U.S. allies in the region. Folks, let me know what you think about this. Please forgive me for not citing the source. I couldn't remember if it was the New York Post or New York Mail or New York Times, because I don't have my new notebook with me. But I'm pretty sure it's easy to find. Maybe you guys can correct me in the comments. Let me know what you think about this in the comments.
Breaking news. This is why we can't attack Iran, and Iran just made their deal. They said no to Trump, and it's because U.S. is running low on some weapons and ammunition.
Good morning. Reports are coming out of the Middle East from our allies that just 3 days into the Iranian conflict, they are already running low on U.S. supplied missile defense systems. That Iran has so overwhelmingly launched ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles, and attack drones that, well, our allies in the region are quickly running out of missile defense missiles. The whole Golden Dome theory is already running out. And there is a perception that this is part of Iran's plan, that they will just swarm these cheaply made drones, their one-way attack drones, and their cheap ballistic missiles, cheap in quotes, of course, and then begin launching their harder to hit hypersonic missiles. And overnight, they did begin launching hypersonic missiles around the region, even as everybody essentially except for a few U.S. bases and Israel are beginning to run low on this Golden Dome missile defense system, whether it is the Patriot missile batteries or the THAAD missile defense batteries. They're all beginning to run low, and resupply may take some time.
Oh boy, see, this is what happens when you fire all of the generals, all the real top generals at the Pentagon when you come into office and you put an idiot like Pete Hegseth in charge, and you expect everything to turn out okay? Seriously? No, y'all, I think we are probably the most unsafe as a nation that we have ever been. There is no way. There is no way. So the generals that are still left also told Donald Trump this would be a tough one to win. You're not going to win. So, what do you do now? And then you got Congress that did a vote to try to limit Donald Trump's power. Okay, you're going to do this after he done took out a world leader? Shouldn't you have done that beforehand? You should have done that before the first bomb was dropped. Boy, they can't get nothing right in this country, but we're supposed to have confidence in these idiots that were elected. Yeah, this is, my heart goes out to these young people in the military. They are left so vulnerable. Donald Trump has started a war, and eventually it's going to leave them unable to defend themselves because they did not calculate how much ammunition the US had before they start attacking Iran. I mean, this is a blunder, but America, take it on the chin. And just also know, don't try to blame us, because y'all like to always blame us for everything, even when we're clearly not at fault. But don't blame us, because one thing about us, now that everybody is delineating online, you're going to have a lot of pushback, and you're not going to like the pushback either. So the only ones that are responsible for this are the ones with high IQs. You are 100% responsible for this war. So own it, love it, and don't try to give it away to others. Wow. Yeah, well, I pray a lot of our young people can get out of there. If you can make it out of there, because I saw one young woman, she went to Dubai. I don't know why our people think that's a great place to go. Those Arabs in Dubai are so racist. I don't know why our people think that's such a place to go. That is baffling to me. So, anyway, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. Thank you so much for coming and listening to me rant through most of this. And I will, keep you posted on anything I'm able to find out that's significant about this war. Now on Sunday, and I'm putting together the live, I'm going to have True Royal, LVZ, and a few people, maybe a few more people, where we're going to discuss the war. And it should be a nice discussion. We haven't come together in a while. It'd be nice for everybody to come together again. So I will be putting that out either later today or sometime on Friday. So have a wonderful day. My next live is at 1:45. I will see you then. Shalom, family.